Their scams grew bolder over time. They once staged an entire fake charity in my name, claiming I had a terminal illness. They'd post online, write letters to churches, even host events to raise funds. I was forced to play along, pretending to be weak and fragile. I hated every second of it, hated the fake tears they'd demand from me when donors came to visit.
Cry more, Jennifer. Make it look real. Why are you so stiff? Behave like a child I birthed, will you?
Mom, I don't want to do this.
I'm your mother and you'll listen to me. You're not going to disgrace your dad and I. Do as we ask, or we're going to kill you ourselves. We can't keep a useless child with us.
Those words haunted me, a reminder that my own parents saw me as nothing more than a tool. My parents were experts in the art of deception, and I was their favorite tool. Growing up, I didn't realize how twisted our family was. To me, normal was watching my parents lie their way through life, scamming anyone they could. Family, friends, neighbors, even strangers. They'd act like the perfect couple, pretending to be upstanding, charitable people, only to trap unsuspecting victims and drain their wallets. They had endless tricks up their sleeves, but their favorite weapon was me.
Jennifer, go ask Mrs. Collins if she can lend us some money for your school supplies. Tell her we just need a bit until your father's next paycheck.
It didn't matter that I hated lying to people. My mother would flash a fake smile, gently pushing me toward the door. I'd have to look up at kind neighbors, relatives, even strangers, and repeat the script they'd drilled into me. I'd stand there, holding out my hand, and repeat the lie as my stomach twisted. The people in our community were generous, genuinely caring folks. They'd listen to my plight, shake their heads, then give whatever they could. They thought they were helping a little girl in need, but all they were doing was feeding my parents' greed. They never paid anyone back, never had any intention of it. I was the one who had to face those people later, when they'd realized they'd been taken advantage of. I was the one who felt their disappointed stares, the pity that slowly turned to disgust as they pieced together the truth. I learned early on that my parents didn't care about the consequences, only the rewards. When I was 15, I started pushing back. Why do we have to keep lying to everyone? Why can't we just do things honestly?
Do things honestly? You think we're gonna waste our lives working for scraps like everyone else? Don't be stupid, Jennifer. People are suckers, and we're just taking what's easy to take.
Their twisted logic was inescapable, hammered into me with every word. My mother would brush off my concerns, telling me I was lucky to be raised by people who knew how the world worked.
One day you'll thank us. We're teaching you how to survive, Jennifer. This world isn't kind, and only fools waste their time doing things the hard way.
That was their philosophy. And for years, I was forced to go along with it, enduring the shame of our life because, as a kid, what choice did I have? I couldn't leave. They'd threatened to throw me out if I didn't cooperate, but they knew I was too young and too scared to survive on my own. Their scams grew bolder over time. They once staged an entire fake charity in my name, claiming I had a terminal illness. They'd post online, write letters to churches, even host events to raise funds. I was forced to play along, pretending to be weak and fragile. I hated every second of it, hated the fake tears they'd demand from me when donors came to visit.
Cry more, Jennifer. Make it look real. Why are you so stiff? Behave like a child I birthed, will you?
Mom, I don't want to do this.
I'm your mother and you'll listen to me. You're not going to disgrace your dad and I. Do as we ask, or we're going to kill you ourselves. We can't keep a useless child with us.
Those words haunted me, a reminder that my own parents saw me as nothing more than a tool. I wasn't their daughter, I was their puppet, and every time I tried to resist, they'd pull the strings tighter. Once, at a church event where they'd spun a sob story about my illness, an elderly woman approached us after the service. She slipped a crumpled $100 bill into my hand, holding so much sympathy in her eyes.
The world is so unfair. You're so little, yet you face so much trouble. Take care, dear. I'll pray for you.
The guilt that flooded me was unbearable. I wanted to scream, to tell her that she was being tricked. But my parents stood right behind me, smiling and nodding, their eyes warning me to stay quiet. When we got home, my mother snatched the money from my hand.
Good job, Jennifer. See? It's easy when you just follow orders.
Shopping with my mother was always an ordeal. I'd be tense the whole time, hoping she wouldn't make me do something humiliating. One time we were at the market picking up a few things when she suddenly whispered to me,
Jennifer, go over to that stall and grab a few of those mangoes.
I stared at her, absolutely horrified. Mom, I can't just steal them.
You'll do as I say. If you don't, I'll make sure you don't eat for 3 days. Is that what you want?
I knew better than to defy her. She'd kept that promise before, and I wasn't willing to risk going hungry again. I agreed and went to the fruit stand. I tried to act casual, moving slowly, trying not to draw attention. My heart pounded as I reached out, pretending to inspect a mango while slipping another into my bag. I'd barely grabbed a second one when someone grabbed me.
Hey, what do you think you're doing, girl? Stealing my mangoes?
I was so scared. A crowd had begun to gather, everyone's eyes on me. I searched for my mom, panicking, and she soon arrived. She landed a slap on my cheek first.
How could you? After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me? I'm so sorry, everyone. I tried my best to raise her right, but clearly she's a disappointment. I don't know where she learned this from, certainly not from me.
I felt trapped, humiliated, and completely helpless.
You poor woman. I'm sorry your daughter put you through this.
My mother sighed dramatically, wiping an imaginary tear from her cheek.
Thank you. I just wish she'd understand how much I love her and want the best for her. I don't know what else to do.
We finally left the mall, and I was fighting to hold back tears. My mother knew exactly how to manipulate the situation, making everyone see her as a victim and me as the bad one. It worked, like it always did. The second we were home, her mask dropped. Before I could even speak, she slapped me again.
You're pathetic. Can't even steal a few measly mangoes without getting caught? How stupid can you be? I swear you're more trouble than you're worth. Do you know how much you embarrassed me today? If you'd been smarter, we'd have fresh mangoes for the week. But no, you had to ruin it.
Her words hurt me, but all I could do was stand there and nod and cry, because I knew that no matter what I said, she'd never see me as anything but a failure. The years went by quite quickly. By the time I was 26, I was suffocating. I'd managed to find a part-time job at a local cafe where I saved every penny I could. I dreamed of escaping, of living a life without lies and manipulation. I thought about leaving every day, but the fear held me back. I knew they'd retaliate if I tried to break free. Finally, I gathered the courage to tell them. I was ready to move out.
You're not leaving, Jennifer. Who else will help us keep things running?
I'm 26. I have a right to live my own life.
You owe us, Jennifer. After everything we've done for you?
I was confused. Everything they'd done for me, all they'd done was steal my life, my dignity.
You're not going anywhere.
I will leave. I'm not your prisoner.
Yes, you are. And you'll stay right here where you belong.
That night, I made a decision. I was done being their puppet, done being used and controlled. They'd kept me trapped in their world of lies for far too long, but now it was my turn to shatter their delusions. I was going to expose them. I was going to tell everyone the truth. The next morning, I bought a camera and installed it at home. Then I set up my parents to indirectly confess to their crimes. I brought up the topic of our schemes, and they started discussing everything we had done and even their next plan to con people. Everything was being recorded without them knowing. After that, I rushed to the police station. I gave them the video and poured out everything I'd kept hidden for years. I handed over all the evidence I had, emails, receipts, photos. Within days, the police launched an investigation, and they didn't waste time. The police showed up at our house with a warrant to arrest my parents. When my dad spotted them approaching, he jumped through the window and tried to escape, but he was tased. My mom attempted to run through the back door, but the house was already surrounded, so she was caught as well. My parents screamed, cursed at me as they were dragged out in handcuffs.
You ungrateful little rat. You betrayed us.
The news spread like wildfire. Reporters picked up the story, and soon, everyone in town knew what they'd done. Interview after interview aired with their victims. People whose lives had been ruined, whose kindness had been manipulated. At the trial, the courtroom was packed with people who wanted justice. Victims, family members, friends. They all came to see my parents face the consequences of their actions. As they were escorted into the courtroom, a woman stepped forward, screamed, and slapped my mother.
You destroyed my family. I pray you both rot in jail.
Others hurled insults, calling my parents monsters, thieves, liars. I saw the fear in my parents' eyes as they faced the full weight of their crimes. During the sentencing, the judge spoke with clear condemnation.
You preyed on the kindness of others, manipulating even your own daughter to fuel your greed. This court finds you both guilty of fraud, coercion, and exploitation. You are sentenced to 25 years each, without the possibility of parole.
My parents glared at me one last time as they were led away, their eyes filled with hatred. But I felt nothing. They no longer held power over me. After the trial, people approached me, some offering words of comfort, others sharing their own stories of how my parents had hurt them. I apologized, trying to make amends, but no one blamed me. They saw me as a victim, just as much as they were. With my parents gone, I was finally free to live my own life. I used my savings to open a small business, a boutique selling handmade jewelry and crafts, things I'd always loved but never had the courage to pursue. The community rallied around me, supporting my new venture, and before long, my shop blossomed. I couldn't believe the response. It was like the whole town wanted me to succeed, to rise from the ashes of my parents' deceit. An elderly woman who'd been scammed years ago by my parents was the first customer.
I'm so proud of you, dear, for not letting your parents influence you. They were unhealthy people, and I'm happy you broke free. Thankfully, by the time they're out, they'll be too old to even try anything with you. Bless you, child.
I thanked her, feeling happy about my decisions. As the weeks went on, word spread about my shop, and orders started pouring in, not just from locals, but from people in neighboring towns. I'd gone from being trapped in my parents' schemes to running a legitimate, thriving business. It was the life I'd always wanted, free from lies, manipulation, and the constant weight of shame. I later heard rumors that, while in prison, my dad stole a key to his cell with the intention of escaping, but he was caught, severely beaten, and placed in solitary confinement serves him right. As for me, each morning when I opened the shop, I felt a sense of peace. I had reclaimed my life, my voice, and my dignity. Thanks for watching. Please do us a favor and like the video so it can be recommended to others.